In the last month, I read 6 books, which is quite unusual for me. That's a lot. So let's talk about them. Hi, hello, my name is Renate. This is the Horror Shelf. I like to talk about creepy books. So if you also enjoy horror books or books in general, please consider subscribing down below. Please give this video a like and let's talk about the books that I read. So I wanted to start with the first book that I read. I think I'm just gonna go in chronological order. This is an extreme horror book. It's quite a popular one. I've read a lot about this on the internet before finally reading it myself. And that's No One Writes for Free by Judith Sonnet. This is such a popular horror book. I think this is one of those extreme horror books that people start with. It's about this woman called Jodie and she has 2 teenage children. She's driving them to college. They take a break at a gas stop to get some snacks to go to the toilet. When she returns to the car, a strange man has climbed into the car and he wants to ride with them. That's what the book is about, and it gets really disgusting really quickly. I think if you are sensitive, you should probably look up trigger warnings for this one, especially for things involving children. It was really gnarly. You know, I really enjoy extreme horror. I just don't know if I enjoyed this one. I did finish it in one go because, I mean, it's really tiny, but I was so grossed out I couldn't stop reading. But I don't know if I would read it again because I don't think I didn't really get anything out of the story. It wasn't satisfying to read. It was just gross. At the back of the book, I found out that Judith Sonnet has written this book in only 10 days. So maybe that explains a lot. That's still impressive to write a book that has become this popular in only 10 days. That's crazy. I just don't know if it was for me. It was kind of like, okay, whatever, this happened. I just didn't really care about any of these characters, to be completely honest. If you're just looking for something shocking and gross, No One Writes for Free. The next book that I wanted to talk about is called Molka by Monika Kim. This is not really new, but it was released in 2026, so in my mind it's still like a new release. I believe it's the second book that Monika Kim has written. I've read the first one, that's The Eyes Are the Best Part. I loved The Eyes Are the Best Part, so when I found out that Monika Kim has released a new book, I wanted to read it so quickly, and I did. And I have to say, I also really enjoyed this one. I think I did enjoy The Eyes Are the Best Part a little bit more, but just because Molka had a little bit of supernatural, spiritual elements in it, and I don't always tend to like that. It's really hit or miss with me, but nevertheless, I still really enjoyed the story. It was really satisfying. If you read The Eyes Are the Best Part, you know what I mean with that. Molka is a term, a Korean term, I believe, for these little hidden spy cameras that gross men hide in, for example, bathrooms or hotel rooms, and they film the people that come in, and most of the time they film women and then non-consensually, and they post these videos online for everyone to see, which is absolutely disgusting, and apparently it's a huge problem in Korea. So I love that she wrote a book about it, created more awareness for this problem. In this book you follow this woman. She's this average 9-to-5 working lady. She starts dating this incredibly rich billionaire guy until someday they wake up in a hotel room and they find out that they have been filmed in this hotel room, and this video was released all over the internet. And now, of course, her life is completely ruined, but this whole ordeal has no consequences for the guy's life. So you follow her navigating what happened, and at the same time you follow one of her co-workers who is in a different department at the office. I think he's in IT, and he's one of those guys that puts the little Molka spy cameras everywhere, and he has spy cameras hidden in all the women's bathrooms in the office. And he also one day films our main character and he becomes obsessed with her. He's like starts stalking her, so you also follow him stalking her while she's going through this life crisis. At some point this lady, she decides to, you know, take revenge on everyone. I have to say, it's really satisfying. I was reading it, I was like, yes girl, get their asses. I really enjoyed it. I can really recommend it, especially if you also liked The Eyes Are the Best Part. Monika Kim is I love her. I love her work. I love it. And it's always very relevant. I like that the stories take place in Korea, so you know, you get a little bit of cultural lessons too. I really enjoyed Molka. The next book that I read is also a very popular one. For good reason, I really enjoyed this one, and that's Intercepts by TJ Payne. How do I describe this story? So you follow this man who works at a facility, a secret facility, where they keep humans locked up to do certain experiments on them. And you know, you just follow his life. And I think that's all I can say about this without spoiling anything. This is gonna sound so wrong, but if you think human experiments are a good trope in horror or like an interesting trope, then you're really gonna like this one. It's also quite dystopian. I loved it. I like that trope. I know I sound insane while saying that I like human experimentation as a trope. You know, I just like dystopian stories where things that maybe could happen in real life or maybe are already happening in real life. I don't know how many conspiracy theories you need to believe, but you know, I really enjoyed those kind of stories, and you know, to think about that. Intercepts was great. I couldn't stop reading it actually. I mean, I also kind of had to read it because I was stuck in the airport for over 12 hours because of problems with my flight. So I was like, what else am I gonna do here than just read this book? So I mean, I was lucky that I had a good book with me, I guess. My time in the airport wasn't that bad because I could read Intercepts. Yeah, I do recommend it. I think it was a really interesting book and really, you know, just a really interesting concept. If you watch my videos, if you've been here before, you might have seen my Stephen King reading vlog where I tried reading Carrie because I had never finished a Stephen King before and I wanted to challenge myself. So I made a little video series, and that's the first episode where I'm going to be reading Stephen King books in publication order. I read Carrie and I really enjoyed this book. Actually, I was so surprised because, like I said, I'd never finished a Stephen King book before, and I surprisingly just really enjoyed this one and I couldn't stop reading it, and it was like sad the first half, but then the revenge part happened and it was so satisfying. I really enjoyed this one. It made me feel many different emotions, so I think that's quite interesting. Maybe I should explain what Carrie is about. You follow this girl, Carrie. She gets bullied. She finds out she can move things with her brain and she takes revenge on her bullies. That's kind of the story. It's just the ending felt kind of flat for me. You work up to this thing that's gonna happen and you know what's gonna happen because it's such a popular story. It has been made into movies, you know, people know what Carrie is about and what's gonna happen. But then once the thing happens, you still have a little bit of book left, and it's like the aftermath but told to the news outlet. By then I was like, okay, so the thing that I was waiting for happened and now I'm kind of losing interest. At the same time, it also didn't take away from the story. It was still good. It was just, I don't know if the ending really was for me. One thing that I also found very interesting in Carrie is that throughout the story you get snippets of the news. So, you know, things that are in the newspaper or that are on the radio or on TV, and it's kind of set up in a documentary format while the story is playing out, and all the news articles are like from the future, so after the event has happened, and you read them while the story is happening. So that's a really interesting dynamic and I quite enjoyed it, but I also read online in reviews that there were people that really hated that. So I think it's like 50-50, you know, you have to try it to see if that's something that you would enjoy or not. The next book that I wanted to talk about is The Forgotten Island by David Sodergren, and this is a summer horror. This is summer. This screams summer. I loved it because where I live, it's summer right now. So it was like perfectly lining up with the environment outside, and I love when it happens. I love when a book has the same weather conditions as the ones that I'm living through at the moment while I'm reading it. So that was great. I read it on my e-reader, so I don't have a physical copy yet. I literally want to buy all of David Sodergren's books because I love the cover so much. I just haven't gotten around to do it. I mean, money doesn't grow on my back, unfortunately. One day I will have them all. But for now, I read it as an ebook, which is fine. In The Forgotten Island, you follow this girl and her sister. They are like 28 something years old, and her sister's boyfriend, who is an ass, by the way. With the three of them, they decided to travel to Thailand to do a little backpacking. And our main character, she kind of hates it there, and she also hates her sister's boyfriend, and she also has a very complex relationship with her sister as well. So the dynamics are interesting. They are in Thailand and they go to this full moon party, and when they wake up, they are on a boat in the middle of the ocean, and apparently while drunk they stole a boat and they went out on the ocean, and suddenly on the horizon they see this island. They're like, this is great, we can be saved by the people on the island. So, you know, they let the boat go through the island, they go on there, and then they find out that something lives on that island that is not really nice. And like, I kind of want to give a trigger warning but I think if I do, then I will spoil what lives on the island. So I think if you really want to know, you should look it up yourself. But it was something that I really, really, really disliked. I don't know how to explain this without spoiling it for you, but Yeah, it's something that I really dislike in real life, and it was on that island, but like a million times worse. So for me, I was reading it like, I kind of hate this. It was really fun. I think if you enjoyed if you enjoyed this book, The Ruins by Scott Smith, then The Forgotten Island by David Sodergren is perfect for you, because it has kind of the same vibe, but I think the main character and her sister's relationship is way more complex than the relationships that happen in The Ruins. All the other characters in the book, they're not that deep, they're just there for like a filler or something. But I think if you like this one, you should read that one, because I mean, I loved it, but I think I've read 2 David Sodergren books so far, and I loved both of them so much. Maybe I'm biased. Maybe I'm just, I don't know. I love David Sodergren. I don't know what to tell you. The book I read after that is, I think, the only book in this video that isn't a horror book, and that's Fight Club by Chuck Palahniuk. So I went to this secondhand book market and I found Fight Club in English. It also has a signature in it, so I looked up if it's Chuck Palahniuk's signature, but it's not, unfortunately. I was like, oh my god, maybe I found a signed book by him. I'm his #1 fan. But no, it's just a random person's sign. It's fine. But I read Fight Club. I have watched the movie, but I never finished it. And also, I watched it like 10 years ago, so I didn't remember much of it. But I read 2 other Chuck Palahniuk books, and I love his writing. I have a lot more books of him on my bookshelf that I need to get to. I love his writing because it's so chaotic and bizarre, but you still can find like deeper meaning and social commentary in his books. And I think Fight Club is praised for good reason, because it was so good. So in Fight Club you follow these 2 men, Tyler Durden and the other guy, you never get his name. Our main character, his life, he kind of hates his life, and then suddenly he meets this guy named Tyler Durden, and Tyler Durden is like, I want you to hit me. And so our main character does, and they start fighting, and after the fight they're like, that was great, we should start a fight club. So they do, and it's this club every week where these men gather to fight, just to release their emotions, I guess, you know, as men do. It gets progressively more extreme and weirder, and then you have the biggest plot twist ever, which was so good. But you know, I already knew what happened, and I think many people do. Nevertheless, it was really enjoyable, and I was still blown away by the ending. So I can really recommend this one. Every Chuck Palahniuk book is such a wild ride, and I love a wild ride book. So those are all the books that I've been reading. I have one more book that I wanted to talk about that I'm reading right now, and I'm halfway done. So I'm thinking I'll probably finish it this weekend. So it was noteworthy to still talk about in this video, and that's They All Died Screaming by Kristopher Triana. Now, I love Kristopher Triana as well. One of the first videos I made actually was a review of Along the River of Flash, because I just loved Gone to See the Riverman and Along the River of Flash so much. I think Kristopher Triana, if you don't know, he writes extreme horror splatterpunk books, but he does it in such a way that it feels like a normal book, but it just gets incredibly disgusting. Written really well. It's just so impressive to me. I love his writing style. And so I wanted to treat myself to a little Kristopher Triana book, so I bought this one. What can I say? So far it has been exactly what I expected it to be. Yeah, it's really good so far. You follow this group of main characters that are trying to navigate a pandemic or apocalypse thing that's happening, where people suddenly start screaming and they don't stop screaming until they die. It happens randomly everywhere, and you follow this group, 2 drunks, and one drunk is like a really big conspiracy theory believer who lives at his mother's home, and our main character is a drunk and his girlfriend, I guess, who is also a drunk. Follow them. There's this homeless guy, has really tiny legs so he can't walk, the barman, and a S worker. You know, they group together to try to survive what's happening. It has a second storyline that's incredibly gross. I mean, so far I'm really enjoying it. I think I kind of know where this is going already, but yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. I love Kristopher Triana, and I'm sure I will love the ending of this book as well. So that's it. Those are all the books that I wanted to talk about today. Have you read any of these books? What did you think of them? What are you reading right now? You know, give me some recommendations. I will be interested in hearing them. So thank you so much for watching. Please like this video. Please comment. Please subscribe. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.